Hello, and thank you for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Esther Mopariola. Today on the program, rising food prices ring alarm bells on the need to promptly address food insecurity in Nigeria. And later on the show, violence breaks out in Rivers as youths and police clash over takeover of council secretariat after Governor Fubara directs heads of local government administration to take over from chairman. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Tunde Abato. Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, with the vast arable land and abundant water resources, does Nigeria have reason or reasons to be battling food security, food inflation? That is a poser by experts in the face of looming food crisis in the country. Well, insecurity, bad roads, high transportation costs, and obsolete farm implements are some of the factors blamed for low food production in the country. But are they enough to plunge Africa's most populous country into food insecurity? Well, experts are calling on the federal and state governments to use one of the country's biggest assets, land, to boost food production. PQ, it appears we have a food emergency on our hands, but do we really have reasons to be in this situation?
Ideally, we should not be in this situation, but all the same, we found ourselves in this situation, and what we should be talking about is how do we get out of this unfortunate situation. When you are driving through Nigerian states, you are on interstate roads, you will see huge expanse of land on both sides. You are taking in the fauna. You see clearly that Nigeria is blessed with arable land. In fact, our mountains are arable. Some mountains, you cannot grow anything on them. But in this country, I see people grow crops on mountains. Go to Mambila, for example, you see crops growing on their mountains. In Nigeria, you see trees growing and doing well on our mountains. Just to tell you that virtually every part of our country is fertile. Now, why do we have problem with affordability of food? Because food is available, but is it affordable to the ordinary Nigerian? The answer is no. Many people can afford to eat what they desire. Somebody was telling me that in my family, it's more than 3 months since we last ate yam, because yam has become extremely expensive. You see a tuber of yam in Abuja being sold for 5,000 naira, just one. Especially now that old yam, as it is called, is gradually disappearing. And in some places, they've started eating new yam, like in my hometown, because my dad has said I must not call it village. Like in my town, it's new. They've started eating new yam. So the old yam is far more, is sweeter, but far more expensive. That is the point that I'm making.
Right.
Now, everyone knows that the removal of fuel subsidy, the fact that diesel is not subsidized at all, and the moment our currency went further down against the dollar, diesel prices have gone up. These trucks that move food from the northern part of the country to the south and the southern part of the country to the north. They run on diesel. You can imagine buying diesel at some point at close to 2,000 naira a litre in some parts of our country. What do you want farmers to do? What do you want the middlemen, those who move these crops, who move them, who move produce from one point to another? Transportation costs, you have to bear transportation cost. The end users have to bear the transportation cost. Of course, transportation cost is going up. Some of it also because the cost of servicing, the cost of maintaining trucks have also gone up. You have to buy spares. Spare parts are denominated in foreign currency, at least at the point of entry into our country. So, since we can't do anything about diesel prices, we should expect that it will inevitably lead to higher food prices because the consumers have to then bear the burden.
Right.
You don't expect food crop producers to bear the burden. Transporters will add money. On our road, there are too many checkpoints. Policemen, soldiers, shamelessly extorting money from farmers, from transporters. That cost will inevitably be borne by our people. Taxes, levies. In some states, you have multiple personnel on our highways, stopping them, putting barriers in their way, and asking them to come up to pay some levies, some taxes before they can move. Okay. There's no way all of this will not add to food prices. I've not gone into food supply because I'm sure that Abaton would like to talk about supply. There is a nexus between supply and demand. When you do not supply enough, you also expect that prices will go up. So and there are issues around supply as well. But for me, there is a big problem of affordability. Food is now being priced beyond the reach of our people. It's not as if people get to the market, they don't see what they want. Absolutely. But they can't, a good number of them can't afford. Yes, the purchasing power has continued to shrink. So a good number of them can't afford food at the prices they are sold currently. That's why I talked about yam. How many people can buy a tuber of yam for 5,000 naira? They would rather, Nigerians are now eating not just what they want, but what they need to eat to stay alive or to stave off hunger. So they are not as choosy as they used to be. You'll be choosy when you have so much, to spend. But when you don't have so much, today if you feel like eating pounded yam, you tell yourself that maybe something else, something cheaper, maybe eba will suffice. So that's the point I'm making. Well, I think also that we need to do a lot by way of supply. We need to produce a lot more, and I'm sure we would like to go into that.
Absolutely, and in producing a lot more, Mr. Baton, how did we get into this mess? In the midst of plenty that we have.
Yep, we got to this mess because Nigeria is the only country in the world I know that passed through the economic zones, importing zones. In the First and Second Republic, I can remember vividly that all parts of the country were supplying foods that is needed by each of the different parts of the country. For instance, in the Western region, between 1960 and 1970, agriculture accounts for 55.8% of the GDP. It means they were feeding themselves. I could remember when I was in primary school and secondary school, we are used to eating white beans that is produced there. Nobody wastes from tomato from the north. Nigeria is so big, let's look at the size of Nigeria, 923,768 square kilometers. Out of that, we have 77 million hectares of land that can be cultivated. But today, we have only been able to cultivate 34 million hectares of land. Which means if we are able to make that 77 million, all over Nigeria, we can feed the whole of West Africa. Nigeria is supposed to be the food basket of Africa. If not Africa, West Africa. But when you look at all the regions, the East, they were supplying us with palm oil. Everybody abandoned palm oil. Immediately, oil came in 1970. Western region, they were feeding all their own population. Everything came down. Between 1955 and 1960, Chief Obafemi Awolowo established 20 farm settlements in all the parts of the Western region. And besides that, he had 5 training institutes to train agricultural specialists who inspect farms all over the place. That guarantees adequate supply. It guarantees continuous production. It guarantees the update and education of local farmers on new techniques. And thank God America came here in the early 60s, established IITA, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, to advise us. Go there tomorrow, you will see a lot of varieties. But what have we done? Our governors from 1970, 55 to 60, the man was having, they are having 5-year development plan period. But the vision we have today, we don't even have a dream, talk less of having a vision. So the vision collapsed because you cannot produce food that we are eating. Now if Western region, they have 20 farm settlements. A brother of mine, he spoke to me today from UK. He came home around 1997, 98, and I took him around because he wanted to go into farming. When I got to Koka village, Koka is one of the villages in Ogun State. In local, they have a farm settlement there. I almost wept because as a small child, my dad used to take me to Koka. There's a farm settlement there. They were collecting £1 from
this
them.
One too on the way to Ibadan.
Yes.
If you are passing through, what is this place called? I've forgotten the name. Do you know
in Imeko in Ogun State, they have about 4,000 hectares of land.
If we are trying to connect,
is it Okwafo?
Yes. No, you are trying to connect Omiadio from Abeokuta. You are driving. You are living in Abeokuta. It's not
Olodo. Ogumake.
It's a farm settlement. I passed through.
Maybe Odeda Farm Institute.
Yeah, God bless you. It's
Farm Settlement and Farm Institute. That Odeda in 1986.
Was Awolowo that?
The last time I was there in 1986, if you see a cow in Odeda Farm Settlement, the cow will be bigger than this, or this table. I am telling you, as of 1986, when the military came back, 84. But the problem is that when you have stopped all these farm settlements, naturally I am expecting that each of the cities, when I saw the governors last week Monday, they were clapping, they were doing the, I only hope that it will go beyond clapping alone. Because, let me tell you something, Lagos State alone, today, an average of 10,000 cows is slaughtered in Lagos every day. Multiply that 10,000 cows by 500,000 naira, each cow. Now, it's about 5 billion, which means we consume cow that is worth 5 billion. So, forget about the north. People if we don't have price, people in Southwest have no reason to say that tomato has gone up. They have no reason to be saying that the cattle is much. People in the north can even feed the whole of the other countries in West Africa. That's why I believe. Because it's more profitable for them to even export yam, export grains from Kanu, Kaduna, Sokoto to Niger, Mali, and collect money. Central Africa and collect money. And the state government will earn more money. While in the West here, we have Republic of Benin, all of that we can be supplying. In the East, they can supply the whole of Nigeria with palm oil. That was started in 1962. The people, this country came here, Malaysia came here in 1962 to collect palm seedlings. As we speak today, Malaysia made an average of $25 billion from palm oil every year. So the thing is that there cannot be...
We started importing palm oil.
We started importing palm oil now.
Yes.
In fact, they now mix the palm oil with oil, with granite oil. So when you buy it in the market, it will just float. So the problem is that we have abandoned what we are naturally given. Like you said, there's no state in Nigeria that is not good agriculturally for one thing or the other. The north is known for grain. You cannot beat them at that. That's why I said, when you look at it, the food chain, it is easier for them to make money in the north rather than bringing the cattle here. In 1962, I could remember because I used to read Awo's book. He presented a paper, the National Assembly, House of Rep, that a train, the Chinese wanted to come to Nigeria. They will construct a train that will leave Kano by 12 midnight. In that train, there will be abattoir. So the food, the cattle that you are going to eat here, 6 a.m. in the morning, the train will take 6 hours from Kano to Lagos. And they will not slaughter it. Abattoir will be inside. That was the vision they had there.
Really?
There was no reason at all to be bringing cattle from Kano to Lagos. Don't let us deceive ourselves. By the time it gets to Lagos from Kano, the content, the protein there will have been reduced. Go to abattoir in Agege. Go and check every trailer that is brought here. If it contains 150 cows, by the time they leave Kano, by the time it gets to Lagos, it's only 120 that we are going to get there. Because all the 30, they have died in transit. Because of heat. So the question now is that why are we crying in the south? Especially, it's very annoying that there's food scarcity because we have abandoned the farms. All the farm settlements. Let each of the 6 states in the southwest, all those governors, let them go and multiply the farm settlements. Do you know Okoba?
Settlements.
Okoba,
are the farm settlements still available?
Some of them, most of them are dead. 90% of them are dead.
But they are still in the.
But they are still on the ground. It's a question of training people. Train people, supply more implements, and some other things there. Like I said in 1997,
what is difficult in reviving them?
Just revive them and put in more money. I was telling somebody online today that get 100 young people, give them 500,000 naira loan for agri. I'm telling you that 60% of them will succeed. Don't let us say 100%. 60% of them will succeed.
Aggressive,
because they are very aggressive at that age. But go back to that farm settlements now. Their age, most of them are passing between 60 and 70 years old. What can they do? There's no implement. When you get to ministry in Abeokuta or any of the state, you will see tractor reported, they will say that they are bought the tractor. The tractor will not get to the farmers. So when we cannot produce, how can we supply? So that's why we depend so much on the grains from the northern part of the country. And the northern part of the country is so viable. Why must we say that because they didn't bring cattle from the north? If Lagos can slaughter, have you been to a fish farm? If you get to a fish farm, here, the amount of fish that is produced daily, if government can pump money into it, it's enough to supply the whole of Southwest. Let Lagos just take fish. Lagos, Ondo, Ogun. Let them take the production of fish.
Or they've not got land.
Because they have rivers. Lagos has only 3,000 kilometers of land, the least in the country. It has more than all the 5 states of the Southwest. But the amount of money that's generated in Lagos, every day we eat about 10 billion naira worth of food in Lagos. So the thing is that we are not producing. We should not be crying. We should not be tired. We are not producing enough at all because the capacity has disappeared.
Now, in the north, we have a little problem that is also accounts for rising prices. Before now, the CFA was weaker than our currency.
Yes.
Today, the CFA is stronger than Naira. It was not what anybody expected. Now that the CFA is stronger than the Naira, people are encouraged to gather their produce and then ship their produce across the border. Customs, immigration, EFCC, they are trying their best to stop these trucks from going across the border. But you and I know that they can only try. How many trucks are you going to stop? In any case, some of them are not even using the conventional border posts. So before you know, and some of them will move in the night, during which time these guys are probably not operating. Some of them use all those routes. I've seen people smuggle grains in Katsina using different routes. Even inside the bush, you just see them, they are going. Now, once they are selling those grains across the border, they are creating scarcity, insufficiency within our own country. Insufficiency that has to be addressed. So, as we say all this, we cannot leave our currency as weak as it is.
Right.
People like Cardoso have a job to do. Because initially, the Naira was exchanging at around 900 Naira to the dollar. Suddenly, we took a decision that we want to go and meet, that we wanted a convergence of rates. We said, okay, you people are doing so, then we are going to meet you. That's what brought us to where we are today. It is not simply the floating. When the thing was newly floated, it wasn't this high. Let's check. Any of us, people listening to me, can cross-check. It was around 900. Then we said, oh, let's go and meet them. You go and meet the black market people because we want to put an end to arbitrage. See where we are now. We've gone to meet them. We even have occasions when the exchange rate will be lower than the unofficial rate. I've seen that. But see the mess that we found ourselves. CFA, a currency that we used to ridicule. People will say, oh, you can actually be a millionaire. You can be a millionaire in CFA and be a Kobonia in Naira.
Yes.
Today, that CFA,
stronger than Nigeria.
Before our highs, is stronger than our currency. I don't think there is any shame bigger than that. For me, growing up in an age when they used to mock the CFA, and seeing before my Korokoro eye, CFA overtake Naira, I don't think any disgrace can be bigger than that. And if we also want to win this war against food insecurity, we have to also deal with that problem. Get our currency to be stronger. Once we do that, these people shipping our grains that we produce across the border, they will be discouraged. Because what will you then want to do that for? Then, of course, added to the need for the governors to do a lot more,
right,
is the need to make inputs readily available, even for free. Give farmers quality seedlings for free, and it is possible. I just returned from Kogi in a town called Geregu. In Geregu, government has set aside 600 hectares. One farmer to 1 hectare. I saw women younger than you, each person has his own hectare, and they come together to help in planting. You will see the videos. You are joining. Once it's your turn to plant, everybody jumps in, they help you. There is an equipment that they use to roll over the ground that will be digging the holes. And then they join you, they help you to plant. When it's your turn, others moving, they are planting rice, especially, but they also have beans, corn, and others. And there are tube wells to allow for all year-round farming. You know, Kogi has a lot of water bodies. In that Geregu alone, they have River Niger. They have lakes. So all the government needs to do, help build roads that make those farms accessible, provide the grains, the seedlings that they need to plant, provide those seedlings, high-yield seedlings, provide fertilizers at subsidized rate. Right. What usually happens in our country is that they make available fertilizers to farmers, but the fertilizers come usually too late. By the time the fertilizer comes, the farmers say, no, there's no need. We don't. The
planting season is over.
The planting season is over. You know, time waits for nobody.
Absolutely.
So if we can do this, the incentive to farm will be there, because I listen to people in Kogi, and those women were saying, we thank God, this is the first governor that will come to our community, and he has come to tractorize our rice fields, help us tractorize them. They've already tractorized 300 hectares out of 500 hectares. And they are not paying a dime to the operators of the tractors. Those tractors are working.
Yes. That is the way to go, actually.
Government is helping. No, mechanization is also something that we have not considered. When you want young people, it exists to get involved in farming. You have to make it easier for them. Because their own generation, they don't believe in unnecessary suffering.
Who and cutlass.
Mechanize it. Let's move into mechanized farming.
Right.
All those governors in our country, all the governors, President Tinubu has to talk to them. What, for example, are they doing about agriculture in Rivers State? Ask yourself. Politicians are more interested in building flyovers, in building estates, where they can then inflate the contract sum and make money. They are fighting in Rivers now. They are not fighting over farmlands. They are not even interested in agri
at all.
They are interested in simply eating what is produced from elsewhere. It's a matter that we need to ask ourselves questions. Why are we like this?
Introspection.
Yes. Why should we, for example, have too excessive taxation on the road? So one thing that can be done is all these trucks that are bearing grains, you can say no. All the haulage trucks bearing grains, we will not tax you. Because by the time you tax them, they too will tax the buyer.
Absolutely.
They will tax you and I. So there is a lot that we can do. And for me, dry season farming will help us increase output. And increased output will inevitably bring down prices. I'm happy with what the current administration has done in terms of dry season farming, dry season wheat farming, where they have made 309 billion. They produced 309 billion worth of grains in dry season. There is a need to continue along that track.
Right. Let me hold your thoughts on this. We need to go on a very quick break. We'll have more discussions on this very crucial topic. Just stay with us.
The management and staff of JRB Solar Investment Limited felicitate with all Muslim Ummah, our highly esteemed customers, and all Nigerians on this joyous celebration of Eid al-Kabir. This festival reminds us of the virtue of sacrifice and total submission to the will of Almighty Allah. May this auspicious festival bring you and your loved ones abundant blessings, happiness, and prosperity. And may all the doors of success be opened for you and your family. Happy Eid al-Kabir celebration from all of us at JRB Solar Investment Limited. With JRB Solar, the sun is going to shine on everything you do.
Hi, this is Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist and member, Forbes Coaching Council. I'm extending an exclusive invitation to all senior leaders in public and private sector organizations across the globe to join me and Harvard University's Professor Dana Bourne, President Joe Biden's Commissioner Ray Jefferson, the seasoned board chair Dr. Musobelo Olushoga at Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp 2.0. holding from 23rd to 29th June 2024 in Mombasa, Kenya. The bootcamp is designed not only to build leadership skills, but also to promote overall well-being through structured relaxation practices with energizing wellness routines and group social events to foster camaraderie and relaxation in the serenity of Mombasa. We had a great time at the last edition in Nairobi with leaders getting insights for reshaping their organizations, and we will have a greater time in Mombasa co-creating an amazing leadership experience together. In case you can't attend the Mombasa edition this June, you can join us at Marrakesh, Morocco for the 3rd edition in October 2024. For more information, visit www.abiolachamp.com. Till I see you at the bootcamp, keep rocking your world like a champion.
still on to Journalist Hangout, and we're still looking at the issue of food insecurity in the country.
I think, you see, before I forget, there was a video that went viral in which we were told that a basket of tomatoes.
Yeah.
Did you see that video? Was, I think, 4,000.
Yes. No, by the time it gets here, it's 140,000.
So you can see, well, you know, but before it gets here, transport costs. You know, those trucks. Transport costs, all those extortionists, soldiers, and policemen, who call, you know, the cost will have quadrupled.
In geometric progression.
So it also reinforces the point that it is not that there is no food. But a lot of our people can't afford because of...
there's no famine. There's no famine. It's the distribution. It's the cost of getting to the people.
And talking about...
And a lot of farm produce even rot away in the rural areas because of bad roads.
There's no road.
So there's a need to fix those state and interstate roads.
Right.
So that farm produce can move freely. I saw a bucket of
tomato,
oranges
along the road
in Boko.
Yes.
You see how cheap it is. Whereas here, oh God, if we can find a way to move produce at a much cheaper rate to different parts of our country, I'm sure it will also help us achieve stability
in food prices. Yeah, and you know, you mentioned the issue of tomatoes, and you know, majority of us rely on. Where I say the tomatoes comes largely from the north, we have the tomatoes, the onions, and all of that. But then again, one would ask, why can't we grow those crops right here? Because we have the soil, we have the land.
Let me tell you something. We have mentioned it. It's because we abandoned the land. Look, my late mom, she was a major onion seller. I understand that. She normally travels to Ibadan when they bring it from the north and bring it to Abeokuta. That was the only item I know. It was coming from the north when I was very young. Tomato here is round like this.
Yes.
Tomato. This is white. We were doing it, but because oil came in 1970, and our sense of reasoning and our leaders, they went mad. They were no more planning again. Because all these things, we are growing them here. Except onion, and because of the land of the north, onion grows better in the northern part of Nigeria. You cannot even grow it here. It's not on commercial business here. But I'm telling you, beans, white beans. When last have you seen white beans here again? That's disappeared. So it is because of the lack of will on the part of the leadership. And I blame more because I don't like always saying that about the president, everything. Who are those people who are in control of land in Nigeria? State governors are in control of land in Nigeria. And each of the state governors have the capacity to do whatever they want to do. Let them. Yes, I understand that you cannot handle a Greek. Government cannot go into business. But government can provide infrastructure. Look at most of the states in the Southwest. I can say this thing. No state in the Southwest has any reason to go and build the airport. Ekiti State building airport, Ogun State building airport. 90% of the roads, rural roads that can bring food to the major centers, they are in bad shape. And you are building airport for who? Now, Ogun State was giving an excuse that they want to be producing food. Before you can bring your produce to the airport, where is the road that all the cultural produce? You want to say it's a cargo airport. Cargo of what? Is it cargo of cassava, or cargo of yam, or cargo of I don't know what, or cargo of rice? It's a misplaced priority. Let them go and no Babangida until he missed the road in 1990. Babangida met well with the D3. They were tarring all nooks and crannies of Nigeria to close the gap between the rural areas, because they are really our food basket. But when there's no road, like you said, now as we talk now, when you go to Ibadan to get there, you can still get a bunch of banana for 250 naira. When you bring that banana to Lagos, it cannot be less than 5,000. I am telling you. So our people are actually active, but there's no road to bring those things. Travel to all look at it for local government, some of the biggest local governments in Nigeria. There's no single road. That Coca farm settlement, one of the oldest in Nigeria, is in for local government. And before that Coca, before you get to Coca, thank God for Governor Shoba who started that road from Ifo down to Coca. That the road that leads to President Obasanjo's village. So I think that our governor should focus more on building internal roads link roads within the state. Right. Leave the highway to the federal government. Or the full production belt of all these states. We have more rural areas up till now. Let them construct even if you cannot construct, now that Dangote has come up with their option that it is more better and cheaper to construct road with concrete than using bitumen. Spending our scarce foreign exchange on bitumen. In Ogun State, they have about 5 cement plants, Ibeshi, Shagamu, and the Ewekoro here. 3 that have been there for ages. Let them be using that thing to construct link roads in the rural areas. Because there is no way, no economy that can take place except the rural areas are linked to the urban centers.
Right.
So we need to, it's unfortunate that people have no vision. You know, when Awolowo came in 1979, sorry to take you back, he said free education, free health services, integrated rural development and full employment. But now, that integrated rural development is lacking in all parts of Nigeria. Instead of building esoteric projects all over the place, let our governors, all parts of Nigeria, let them concentrate 60% of the budget for road construction in the rural areas so that food can come out. When food can come out to the main towns, then you can guarantee that it will be cheaper those days. But now, the reverse is the case. So the only thing we can do is to let us construct as many roads as possible. Infrastructural development in the area. So when you provide infrastructure, you are indirectly bringing the price of things down. Yeah. Like Fashola used to say that when you construct road, you increase the lifespan of the people living on that road, you increase the value of their property, and you also increase the ease of doing business.
Look at Lagos. Lagos came up with an unusually big rice mill.
It's today, because there's no feed.
It's not
no paddy.
Because no paddy.
No paddy.
The quantum of paddy that you need to get the company working, you can't find it because everybody is looking for paddy as palliative and all that. So where are you going to get the kind of paddy that you want? And Lagos has not got enough land to grow crops as it want, except if it collaborates with Ogun State. But you have a state like Oyo. The whole of the Okeogun area is a food production belt. And we have not cultivated even a fraction of what we have.
Oyo has 28,454
so this is more like the government needs to come together to harness the potential that lies there.
Oyo is bigger than the southeast. Your state.
28,454 square kilometers.
So it's big and there is plenty of arable land. So the governor of your state, I appreciate what they are doing in Fashola.
Fashola farm.
They are focusing even on livestock. You see,
some of the companies
to set up their...
Some of the old farms.
Yes, they've revived it. That's what I'm saying, that it can be revived. So at Fashola, they are growing tomatoes in ample quantity. They are growing maize in ample quantity. You know, they are doing livestock farming. I saw tomatoes, you know, and with the help of IITA, you can see that they are doing those things, focusing on technology and all that. So
this is in Ibadan, right?
You're not. It's in Okeogun. This Professor Pella's
yes, Okeogun, that's you're not.
What's the name of this place?
Erua.
The hometown of Professor Pella.
Erua.
It's not Erua. Isheyin.
Isheyin is in Oyo North.
Isheyin, it's around Isheyin. After Isheyin, you have Fashola farms. So the governor is doing a lot there. The whole of Israel, only 10,000 are farmers.
Yes.
Whereas Israel is one of the best countries in the world in agriculture.
Agriculture, yes.
We have to opt for mechanized farming than to use technology.
Right.
Over there, they use drones. They use drones to monitor their farmlands, to even plant. You know, somebody told me about one man. He said that man is from Israel, he has a huge farm, but he has only 2 workers. Technology helps him to do the rest of the work.
Do you know that in 1955,
Okay, we just
before Western region started?
Discussion, we would have loved to discuss more because of time, because we need to move on to our next issue of discussion. But food security, no doubt, is a pressing issue. Perhaps we'll discuss this in another edition of the program.
Yes.
Well, it appears the bubble over the long-standing feud between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, has finally burst. The gulf between the two combatants widened more when Governor Fubara directed heads of administration in the 23 local government areas of the state to assume leadership position of the council areas. In a statewide broadcast in Port Harcourt this Tuesday morning, the governor based his decision on the expiration of their tenure on Monday. And the decision generated spontaneous reactions at most local government areas in the state. And at the secretariat of the Port Harcourt City Council, there were sporadic gunshots as the police scared away scores of youths who stormed the premises to protest. The youth said they were at the secretariat for a peaceful demonstration against the immediate past council chairman, whom they claimed refused to vacate office after expiration of their tenure. Tunde, why?
Well, it's a catch-22 situation. Naturally, when you look at the brief that the federal government, through the Attorney General, went to court, to Supreme Court, to declare that any local government in Nigeria, any that's headed by a caretaker committee, should not be recognized, and they should not be given from the federation account. That is good. But I don't think it is even necessary for the governor. Naturally, we have a system that is working to make a broadcast to the people when the tenure of the local government has expired. I would have expected that 3 months before the expiration, the State Electoral Commission, because we now have State Electoral Commission, will have set in motion process for another election. But the governors, that's why we are saying that Nigerian 1990 Constitution, there's something seriously wrong with it. The governors playing under that card, they will now appoint administrator until the end of their tenure, so that the administrators can help them to get election back into office. I think this is it. So I would have expected that between now and the next 1 month or two, thank God that the Supreme Court has given both parties the date they are going to declare, they are going to pronounce judgment on that thing. If the Supreme Court can pronounce judgment, then the action of the governor, he will have to conduct local government election, because he should have started this thing 3 months ago. There's no need to address the state that there's no need for it. You should have conducted the local government 2 months ago and stopped unnecessary breaking. Naturally, the youth are expressing their own, but I see politics in it. There's no need. There's politics in it, but there's no need to do that in the first instance, because you know when their tenure is going to expire.
You know, the point that you made is the point that is a very valid point. Why, you see, the solution to this thing will be for Fubara to just go and do an election. Why is he scared of an election?
Cannot do election.
Why is he scared? The governor of Oyo State conducted election the other day. In any case, do they even do election in local government?
Local government. They write the results. Yes.
What is difficult for him in saying, okay, let's do election from the first day? From the first day, Fubara did not want to do local government election, because he cannot say that he's just getting to know now
that their tenure has expired.
He didn't want to do local government election because he suspected that those guys will be re-elected. He does not have structures. He was not originally a practicing politician
in the first instance.
So he didn't want to do election. And I've been saying it that the cause of this conflict is actually the attempt to send local government chairmen away and plant caretaker chairmen. That's where the conflict began. Remember, even in that draft agreement that Asiwaju made wiped,
yes,
one of the resolutions was that he must not send the local government chairman packing by way of caretaker, because they knew that was what he wanted to do. There should be no reason in the world for governors to have the power to usurp
the powers of the local
authority and the running of local governments. local governments should be able to run as another tier of government. That is what the Constitution envisages. The way you are elected is the way they are elected.
By the people.
Don't bring so-called caretaker
committee
chairman, which is not known to democracy, it's anti-democratic. Don't bring it. Then again, coming back to Rivers, this matter is in court. Appeal is at the level of appeal.
Mm-hmm.
The matter of Martin Amewule and 25 others. I think 25 others. You know, the matter of Martin is before the courts, and there is a kind of corollary with all of those cases, because you could say, okay, they've taken him to court that he should not parade himself as an assembly member anymore, this and that. But the survivor of Martin is, and the things that he did as speaker, they are linked together. You get the point that I'm making? Mm-hmm. Martin extended the tenure of local government chairman. It's not the first. It's not. The state is not the first where it has happened. They've had tenures even in the north. Yes. Even in Lagos here, in Lagos, local government chairman, they used to spend 3 years in office. And the assembly passed the law extending their tenure by 1 year,
so that they can be there when the governor is conducting another election.
They did it. I think it was during Ambode. We know these things. So extension of tenure, if you are saying, okay, Martin, you defected, although they are denying that they defected, if the courts say, well, Martin and others are still assembly members, it means that everything that they did is valid. So all that is required is for these people to calm down, let the judiciary resolve this matter. This indecent hate can lead ultimately to violence. And I had one of the chairmen, I think it was Roland Sekibo, the chairman of Akokutoru local government. He said, those who want to be caretaker chairman, just endure. Those who want to be council chairman, just endure. We are already at court of appeal. It won't take long again. So judgment, it won't take long again for judgment to come. Whichever way the case goes, it will go to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
If I were Fubara, I would have done an election a long time ago.
Yes, now.
What will happen in an election? You are the governor. Your mates, they write the results.
Results, no. You understand? Because all the states, have you ever seen any state that lost
I've never seen. Even I remember one case here in Lagos that somebody won an election. I sent my reporters. They came back to tell me that, okay, this is the person that won. By the following morning, we were told again that he didn't win again. He already won. You know? Such funny things can only happen in local government. It's the elections that they do at local government level. Where every ruling party in the state must win all the seats. It's only a few governors that have managed to surrender just a few local government to the opposition. The former governor of Kano, the teacher, Senator Shekarau, he allowed them to win some local government. Oyo, during Rashidi Ladoja,
yes,
allowed them. I think they won in Ogbomoso and one other place. Allowed them to win, I think, 2 out of all those local government in Oyo states. Allowed them to win 2. Then Kaduna, El-Rufai, he conducted local government election through electronic balloting.
Yes.
And the opposition capitalized on it and won some local governments. Outside of these people that I've talked about, I don't know, maybe Nigerians know some other government.
No, that's
I don't know.
They always, so why not conduct that election and justify your...
You always go the right
result.
You know, but where you don't think that you are in charge, because you have a formidable...
He's afraid.
You'll be afraid, the way Fubara is afraid.
The guilty are afraid.
His mates don't go through all this. They will conduct the election, they will write...
They write the result. Why not justify it?
That he goes through that route.
Why not go conduct that election?
Maybe, well, none of...
No, they say whether he likes it or not.
Right.
If the Supreme Court now rules that you can't do caretaker anymore, will he not do election?
He has to do it.
Will he not do election? If you deliberately refuse to fund SIEC in your state because you don't want to do election, and your mates are doing election, why are you scared to do it?
Somebody wanted to president of Nigeria for 7 years. He didn't do local election in his state.
He didn't. No.
And I wanted to be president of Nigeria. 7 years.
Even the person that came after him also spent 8 years.
8 years without doing any
refused
election.
to do local government. It's Anambra we are talking about.
Yes, now.
They've not done election in more than 16
years.
Let's say 18 years, because the person who is there now spent 2 years. It too has not done local government election.
Why are they afraid? Why are they afraid?
Why you not go do local? Waiting there.
Why are they afraid?
So, your final thoughts on this, and where do you think this is heading to, and the likely solutions, if at all?
Well, the solution is that we should all wait. The Supreme Court will soon, maybe in the next 1 week or two, without necessarily preempting the Supreme Court. Let us all wait for the Supreme Court. I know that this caretaker thing, they cannot last 3 months in office. I am very sure of that, because the Supreme Court will not wait till then. So, by the time the Supreme Court give their judgment, we all know where we are going. As to food in Nigeria, let all the state government go back and increase the capacity of the existing farm settlements and create more farm settlements. There's no reason why each of the states cannot have 50 farm settlements for various reasons. If there is, no matter the importation they are doing, if there is enough food every part of Nigeria, nobody will import it anywhere. Nobody will export it anywhere. Let all of us go back to what we were doing before. Nigeria had no crisis between 1960 and 1966, when all the states did not. They were producing their groundnut. The East, the oil, the Southwest, cocoa, and all the other things. Why now that we are 220 million?
Rubber, South, rubber.
In 1960, we were 44 million. We had no problem with food. Now we are 220 million. 65% of that population, they are youths.
A lot of homework to do.
I'm not ready to plant.
We should be ready to plant, because a lot of mouths to feed indeed. Well, let me thank my guests in the studio as usual, Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Babatunde Abaton. Thank you so much for your insights on the show.
Go and plant.
I've been planting. I have
tomato. You know, people can plant. People do plant.
I plant tomato. I plant. My wife has been. This is my okra that I planted, and my wife has been.
You know, people now use cement bag to plant yam.
Yes, I've been
just
told.
put it there. Yes,
they are doing it.
Yes, now.
Okay, well, that's where we have to leave today's episode of the program. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of the show. You can also watch a repeat broadcast of it tonight at 11. Join us again on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Esther Mokarela. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Can I win Best Comedian for 5 years? I do show no sponsor.
Adult Nation presents The Stalker Laughter Crusade 40 and Fearless. Lagos, are you ready for the best comedian in Nigeria? The Stalker.
Oh, no, King Solomon for Bible. 700 wife, 300 concubine. Is he shit on them?
He is bringing the best of comedy, music, and wow entertainment to you. This event features Nigeria's finest comedians and musical acts. Date is Sunday, 23rd June at the prestigious Eco Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. Red carpet 6 p.m. and main hall opens